Well, let me start a new one here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the animals that we had out on the farm. It, oh Lord, we had every kind of animal you could. We didn't have no donkeys, and but we had mules and we had horses. Now I don't know how other. We didn't have no contact with any other farms. You see these TV things where farmers get together in the city and they have these auctions and they all get together and talk to each other. Ain't none of that happened with us. I I don't ever remember any other. I do remember one time in my life, and I don't know where this farm was, but I remember being in a car, and my dad was driving, and the whole family was in the car, and we were driving, and there was a hill, and we looked up there, and there was a bunch of dairy cattle up there, and we were going to this house that was up on the hill, and this guy was a dairy farmer, and I don't know whether he was kin to us or why my dad was over at that place, or why he took the family. Went over and visited him. I don't remember being on the farm. I just remember, the only thing I remember about that is it was up on the hill, and there was a paved road going around leading up. We had to turn off of that paved road and go on a gravel road up to that house. But I don't remember. This part I do remember one thing. When we sat down to eat, they brought out some biscuits that was about 10 times bigger than a normal biscuit. And man, I'm telling you, that's the best darn bread I'd ever eaten in my life. I don't know what they call them things. But see, it might have been some folks that my mother knew. Now them Norwegians, see, Norwegians made, if they were Norwegians like my grandmother was, they had some funny, I don't say funny, but they had some different cooking type stuff, meals and things like the regular Americans had. And I kind of think that these folks were probably, I don't know if they was Norwegians or what the heck they were, but them were the biggest, dead blamed cotton picking biscuits I'd ever seen in my life. They're 10 times bigger, and they were just soft as they could be. You could tear them apart. You could make a meal out of eating them biscuits. They were so good. You know, I don't remember anything else about that whole trip, but I do remember that. You know, but what I kind of want to talk about and is we had this deal where I don't remember I don't remember a whole lot about. I just about said everything I remember about grade school. I do remember one thing though that is kind of unusual, was that all my life, even when I was a kid, I was very timid. I didn't like talking in front of a bunch of people, but this is unusual. Just to show you that the atheism wasn't always here. When I was in grade school, I became part of a Christmas play, and I remember some of the words that I said. What my part was to say that I was dressed like an angel, and I stood up on the stage, and there was some shepherds there, and I said I was supposed to talk out real loud to the audience. We was in an auditorium, and God, can you imagine a Christmas play inside a grade school? Wow, I guess they'd take you and execute you today if you was to pull something like that off. But I remember what I was supposed to say the angel appeared unto the shepherds abiding in the field, and said, Lo, unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. I still remember what I had to say at that day. God, how long ago has that been? Lord have mercy. 75, 80 years? Well, it wouldn't be 80 years ago. It'd be 75. It could be 75 years ago, though. Easily. But I remember that. That's something. Yeah, 75 years ago we had a Christian nation. Now as atheists is taking over, we ain't got no Christian nation no more. You know. Well, sad as it is. But anyway, I thought I'd mention that. I did. It's a wonder they ever got me to do that, because I was so timid. But anyway, I did. You know, I remember that. I can't. I'm trying to remember any other things that happened while I was in school and while I was in grade school. I think I just about I had a few fights and I don't remember any other things that really happened in that school that amounted to anything other than me having a fight with them two brothers that bullying up on everybody, and I stopped them from doing it, and I got into another fight, and I swear to God I don't remember I don't remember how I got into that fight and why I met him out at the flagpole in front of that school. But boy, when he pulled that knife on me, that ended my tough days. I'll tell you that. I was real careful about starting any more fights. I didn't know people do that kind of thing. You learn things. The good Lord been real good to me. I didn't get cut, sent to the hospital or anything. So I think good Lord trying to send me a message. Okay, tough boy. You better tuck it in, boy. Put your shirt tail in and stop going around like you some kind of big dude, I kind of got the big head after I whooped the two badasses in the school. And boy, the good Lord, he stopped that. Boy, I'll tell you, he stopped it in one day with one activity. I looked at that knife blade and I said, whoops, uh-oh. Uh-oh. I got in a lot more fights. I'll have to tell you about fights after that, because you folks got to understand, there ain't nothing about this I'm trying to make myself look big. On the other hand, all I'm trying to do is protect myself. I just rather die than have somebody to run over me. I just couldn't stand. So I didn't want to be tough. I didn't want to run over anybody else, but I just didn't want nobody running over me. And I'd have to tell you about my. I need to tell you about. I want to tell you about some other stuff, but I got to get my car. I got to get myself into a car because I can't remember whether I went to high school or got my car first. They kind of both went on about. I never did drive my car to school, high school. So maybe I ought to talk about high school first. I got through high school. I didn't flunk no courses. I didn't make no real good grades, but I only made one F in high school, and that was in the 6 weeks. I actually passed the course, but I made an F in one of the 6 weeks, and it was because of identities when you're taking trigonometry. There was a course called identities, and I don't know how many of you folks out there ever took identities in high school. But it's about the stupidest thing you ever seen in least like I thought it was at the time, because I realized I got another story to talk about that later in life, but at that particular point in my life, I thought that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody do. They give you a formula, and you go through swapping formulas for formulas, and this for that, and swap this for that, and that for this, and boy, you go through 2 or 3 pages, and you wind up with the same formula that you started out with. And I said, well, this is the dumbest darn thing I ain't doing this. This is crazy. I ain't going to do it. And I didn't. And I flunked that 6 weeks. But I passed the course. I made enough. You only get 3 grades when I went to school. I don't know what they do nowadays, but we got three grade periods where I had to take a report card home, and I made high enough grades on the other 2 to keep me from failing the entire course, but I did. That's the only F I ever made all the way through high school. Now, college is a whole different. I don't want to talk about that right now. Let's just talk about high school because I got into a fight in high school, and I don't know exactly how to. When I say these things, let me make it real clear that I'm not trying to convince you that I'm a tough guy. I did it out of self. I protected myself. I just was not. I had rather died. I'd rather you kill me than cause me to submit to you. It always seemed that these tough badasses, as they called, always had 3 or 4 guys around following them around. I never seen one that didn't. And every time I fought one of them, they always had 3 or 4 guys standing around them, I remember in high school, the only reason I'm talking about this now, and I'm trying to think, there really wasn't a whole lot of activity going on. Oh, there's one other thing, I'll get to that. Right now, let's talk about this fight. At Crozier, I went to Crozier Tech, and it was downtown, it was close to downtown Dallas, and I lived in South Dallas at the time. I had to ride a streetcar up there and back every day, and I don't remember the streetcar went down, if I remember correctly, went down Commerce, and the street that I got off to walk up I had to go 4 or 5 blocks up to get to, after you get off of Commerce. I had to work. I don't remember what street that Crozier Tech really faced. I went into the back of it. It faced the other direction from which I walked up to it from. But anyway, when I got off the streetcar to go on that street, there was a big fountain right in the middle. There was 1, 2, there was 3. I think it was 4 streets, 3 or 4. There might have been about 3 streets. There were 2 cross streets, and then there was another street that come in kind of at an angle right there where I got off of that. Then there was a big watering trough where they used to, when they had horse and buggy days, they used to water these horses, right in the middle of the square, so to speak, there where I got off. It's not there anymore, but it was when I used to go to high school. It was there, And anyway, let me talk about, before I run out of time here. Let me talk about there was a kid there, and I've tried like the devil to remember his name, but I can't remember it. But anyway, Crozier Tech was a big building, and they had a building off on the side over there where Crozier Tech had a lot of shops. They had a wood shop, metal shop, and radio shop, and all sorts of things. But there was a big long hall that had a bunch of lockers in it. And I was at my locker when this dude, I can't think of his name, him and all his 3 or 4 buddies went past me and went down to their locker. And I was still messing. I don't remember what I was doing, but I was still messing in my locker. And sure as the world, when they got through there, this tough guy, he walked by and he stuffed me in the back with his elbow. I went berserk because I know that piece of crap was going to do that, and I was waiting for him. I already had my fist doubled up, and boy, when he did that, I turned around. And I knocked, oh God, I hit him, and I just went berserk. I not only hit him once, I just went crazy. He went down on the ground, and I got on him, and I beat that. They had to pull me off of him. I was trying to kill him. I wanted to kill that son of a... I can't help myself. I don't know whether I picked it up from my dad or where I got it, but I pulled a daddy on that dude. Man, I went berserk. I tried to kill him. I'll be honest with you, I would have killed him if they had to pull me off. That's what I intended to do. Stick his damned elbow in my back. What am I supposed to do? Get out on my knees and say, please don't hurt me. Oh God, you're so tough. And I knocked the living damn hell out of him. Is what I did. And I would have killed that son of a bitch if he hadn't pulled me off of him. I don't know whether, when I say God, I'm fixing to have to quit this one, but when I say God used me, I didn't have no reason to do that. God made me do that. I probably saved that boy from getting killed. When I say God used me, that's what I mean. Why would I have done that? There was 4 or 5 guys with that gun. I mean, there was no way in hell I was going to fight all them guys. They had all his buddies. Why would God let me do that? See, but it turned out I blooded his damn nose and made a little pipsqueak out of him right in front of all his friends, and nothing even happened to me. They just pulled me off of it. You see what I'm saying? See, I didn't realize I'd been used till I got older and looked back, And what in the world is wrong with me when I tried to fight? I knocked the crap out of him when he had about 4 or 5 of his buddies there. Well, I'm going to quit this one. I'm going to stop and we'll get on to something else later.